Welcome to another episode of Power BI Updates with Sohail. Hi, I'm Sohail Bakshi, a Microsoft Data Platform MVP here at Theta, New Zealand. And in this video, I will walk you through my top favorites of Power BI updates in February 2025. So without any further ado, let's get to it. Let's go to Power BI February 2025 feature update. Let me scroll down to get to the contents. And from here, my top favorites are the update on Copilot and explaining how Copilot arrived at this result. The next one on the list is conditional formatting for visual calculations. And my third favorite is monitoring hub enhancement for semantic models. But there is a very important update in this feature release that I cannot ignore, and it is upgrading Power BI Desktop to 64-bit version. From 30th of June 2025, the 32-bit version of Power BI Desktop is not supported anymore, so let's be aware of that. And my top favorite feature of the month is the how Copilot arrived at this. Before we jump into the demo, let's take a moment to understand a little bit more about this new feature. Reading through these lines, we understand that this feature is all about improving transparency on how Copilot generates visual answers. Visual Answers actually uses Power BI visuals to provide a more understandable answer to the prompt that we asked Copilot. Scrolling down into this section brings us to a very important reminder that Copilot does not currently incorporate existing filters from the report when generating a visual answer. This means that if we have a couple of filters on the report page that we are at while asking a prompt from Copilot, those filters will not be considered. I will explain what it is in today's demo. Before we test this new Copilot feature, let me share with you my data model. In Power BI Service, I click on Open the Data Model. Looking at all tables layout, you can see that I have a sort of fully featured data model. There are a lot of relationships and also a lot of measures have been created. It is important to have all of these relationships in place, otherwise Copilot cannot generate accurate answers. Now let's go back to my workspace and open up a report that is connected to this semantic model. As you perhaps already guessed, this report is also created by Copilot. But here's the thing, we are now going to use Copilot on this report while we are on report viewer mode. We are not creating a new report, or we are not in edit mode of this report. So Copilot uses the data in the data model to answer my prompts. It is important to note that this is actually looking at my data in the data model, not into the report. And that is exactly what is reflected in Microsoft's webpage. They say it is not considering the filters on your report page to generate the answer. Now I go ahead and click on Copilot button here. I have my preview features enabled and I start asking some questions. So the first question that I ask is, what is the reseller sales by product category? There you go, it generated the reseller sales by product category. Now I want to understand more about how this visual answer is generated. So I click on how Copilot arrived to this. I can click on the field that is used. So it is coming from the product category field, from product category table, and it actually used the reseller sales measure from the base measures folder, display folder within my reseller sales table. Let's try another prompt. Let's ask, what is my reseller sales by year month? And year month is not in this report page, and reseller sales is not in this report page, but both of them are in my data model. This time around, it didn't quite work well. So let's see what Copilot has actually used. It's definitely not correct answer, right? So it is using the reseller sales, year, month, order quantity that are not really necessary to answer this question. Let's ask one more question now. What is my order quantity by year, month? And let's see if Copilot can answer this question more accurately. So we have an answer here, and it is looking at year, month, sum of order quantity. Let's click on how Copilot arrived at this. And this time around, you can see that the year, month column is coming from the date table, which is correct. And order quantity is actually coming from internet sales and sum of internet sales, which is also correct. But the caveat is that I have order quantity in both internet sales table and reseller sales table. Now I can ask a more accurate question. This time I ask, what is my reseller sales order quantity by year, month? And let's see if it can generate a more trustworthy answer. Click on how Copilot arrived at this. Again, year-month is coming from my date table. And this time around, it got it right. So the values that are shown on this visual are now the values that I am actually after. As we saw in today's demo, Copilot can make mistakes, but it is important for us to understand if the answers generated are actually by mistake. In my opinion, this feature adds more transparency and trust over the answers that Copilot generates. It can also help us to improve the accuracy of the prompts that we ask Copilot. I hope you enjoyed this video and catch you in the next one.